This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, I'm Justin Betty. Tonight, President Biden gave a primetime national address from Philadelphia where he called for Americans to unite to defend democracy. But he also took some verbal shots at his political rivals. The president said not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans, are what he considers MAGA Republicans, but said today's Republican Party is dominated, driven, and intimidated by former President Trump and his supporters.
Take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence.
Meanwhile, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy gave a pre-buttal, so to speak, from Biden's birthplace, Scranton, Pennsylvania, saying the president chooses to, quote, divide, demean, and disparage his fellow Americans. Closer to home, the northern Minnesota woman who was beaten to death allegedly by her ex-husband last week was laid to rest today. Services for 31-year-old Carissa Odegaard were held at Hope Church in Grand Forks. Well, our cameras weren't allowed inside the private event, but our reporter was there. He says family and friends spoke about her life and the many lives she impacted. Her family sang a song in her memory. Carissa's aunt described her as a far above average mother who fed, loved, and guided her 5 kids. She leaves behind 5 beloved children. Meanwhile, Anders Odegaard faces 1 count of second-degree murder in Carissa's death. He remains behind bars, bail set at $2.5 million. This week, he had a mental health evaluation pushed back to mid-November. Switching gears now and taking a look outside, following up on a pretty toasty day for the start of September. First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joins us with details. Hutch.
Meteorological fall, and it indeed was not. Sweater weather today, Justin. Outdoors temperatures just soared, and temperatures hit the 90-degree mark for many up and down the valley. Look at Badette, 88 degrees there, 90 in Cavalier, 91 Devils Lake. How about Harvey? Nearly 100 degrees as we approach central North Dakota. Fargo topping out at 87. Thunder and lightning strike were approaching the Aberdeen area from a very small thunder shower. A cold front is making its way through. Here is the leading edge. There are some spotty showers. That is about it. The risk of anything severe overnight, not very good. And in fact, all of us are going to stay dry overnight. The best chance of rain will come as this system works its way through. Still very warm temperatures for this hour of the day. Near 80 degrees still in Minot, and not a lot colder in Regina at this hour, but it will be significantly colder tomorrow. Here's a look at Fargo's planner. Temperatures sneaking down all the way into the 60s with a few clouds increasing as that cold front approaches. Grand Forks similarly. Any chance of rain looks to be really late at night towards daybreak. I'll have details on that, and we'll talk about just how cold we're going to get when this cold front makes its way through and look ahead at the holiday weekend. Justin?
Sounds good. Thanks, Hutch. Construction on a new strip mall is underway in Grand Forks. The Grove is slated to be a 28,000 square foot shopping center on the southwest corner of South Washington Street and 40th Avenue. Organizers say there are tenants already lined up to occupy some of the spots, including Tropical Smoothie Cafe, My Salon Suites, and Palm Beach Tan.
There's a huge value in that commercial development beefing up, and just the variety and the mix going forward is a huge asset. And like I said, filling up that South Washington corridor and seeing those things kind of bolster all collectively together in terms of having like a very active, vibrant corridor is good.
According to Edwardson, construction will continue through the winter. It should be ready by next year. New tonight, 4 people have been detained following a high-risk warrant involving the SWAT team in South Fargo this morning. Authorities say they surrounded an apartment building at Amber Valley Parkway just before 7 a.m. They used a flashbang to distract people and get inside. For a little while, police urged people to stay away while they dealt with the situation. We're still working with police to get more information, including about who exactly is in custody following this incident. New information on the Chinese company looking to build a mill on farmland near Grand Forks. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. is requesting Fufeng USA provide a bit more information about its proposed wet corn mill. Fufeng shared the letter with the city of Grand Forks last night. The community is concerned about the 370-acre plot being so close to the Grand Forks Air Force Base. They're worried the company might be trying to get its hands on the technology there. Grand Forks mayor says the city intends to pause construction on Fufeng-specific items until they can meet the government's request. Federal drug officials have released a warning along with these colorful images of a type of fentanyl called rainbow fentanyl. The pills and powder come in bright colors, shapes, sizes. Officials say it may be a new method for drug cartels trying to appeal to younger people. Just this month, law enforcement seized rainbow fentanyl in 18 different states.
Unfortunately, it's getting worse. We're seeing more and more fentanyl coming in. Traditional opioids are falling off the radar of them because it's so much cheaper to use fentanyl.
Drug poisonings are the leading cause of death for Americans between the age of 18 and 45. 15,000 nurses in the Minnesota Nurses Association plan to go on strike for 3 days, starting in less than 2 weeks. They approved that strike last week. We've just now learned the official dates. They say hospital executives aren't doing enough to address matters including short staffing and patient care. They want to improve that. The strike includes nurses in the Twin Cities, the Twin Ports up near Duluth, and Moose Lake.
Over a decade ago, our issue was safe staffing. 12 years later, it's the same thing. The difference is our healthcare and our profession are in crisis. And we must stand together for each other, our co-workers, and our patients, and take this immediate action.
The strike is scheduled to start the morning of September 12th and go through September 15th. Of course, they may reach a compromise before then. Many of these nurses have been working without a contract for the last few months. At Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport, off-duty Delta pilots held an informational picket today. The Airline Pilots Association says members are working under a contract from before the pandemic started. They're asking the company to recognize their efforts as frontline workers.
This past year has been extremely busy for our pilots and all of our employees, but the pilots have picked up more overtime already this year than our two busiest years, 2018 and 2019 combined. So the pilots are committed to our customers in providing safe and reliable transportation. How are they holding up? They're tired. They're fatigued.
Spokesperson says Delta's goal is to provide its pilots with, quote, the best compensation based on pay, retirement, and profit sharing. Meanwhile,
like the old days, back when gas used to be cheap.
More than 3,600 Circle K gas stations across the country cut fuel prices for drivers for a special 3-hour event earlier this evening. Those who filled up at these locations, you see them advertising it outside here, got 40 cents off per gallon.
I mean, though, it might blend down to maybe over here, the guys over down the end of the street might decide to do it.
Hoping it spreads. Circle K told us the discount would be visible at the pump, though many people reached out to us tonight saying at least at some local gas stations, they had to go inside to get the discount. Xcel Energy is asking the state of Minnesota for the green light to put up more than 700 new EV charging stations over the next 4 years. That's electric vehicle. Right now, there are 56 public charging stations in the state. Xcel says this plan would cost an average customer about 72 cents more per month starting in 2024. 2,464 citations, almost 2,500, were given out during the recent Click It or Ticket campaign in North Dakota. Failure to wear a seatbelt and speeding accounted for almost 2,000 of those, though the traffic stops also resulted in a number of other citations for things like drug arrests, distracted driving, DUI, and suspended licenses. In 2021, 46% of motor vehicle deaths in the state involved someone who was not wearing a seatbelt. It's a big weekend for college football fans. There are some games tonight, and both UND and NDSU football seasons get started this Saturday. And tickets are still available through the school for the Bison's game against Drake this weekend. You can buy tickets at the box office, over the phone, or online. And if you're planning to tailgate and don't have a reserved spot, parking is $5 outside the Fargo Dome. Single vehicles can get up to 2 spots if you want more space. A vehicle with a trailer has a max of 4 spots. You can start lining up at 5 p.m. tomorrow, almost a full day early, along the south side of 17th Avenue. But if you do that, your vehicle must be attended at all times by someone, and staff and law enforcement will be there to direct you to the right spots. A reminder for hunters, a federal duck stamp is required for waterfowl hunters 16 and older starting today. That includes duck, geese, swans, and other birds. The stamp is available for electronic purchase. You can buy it online through the Game and Fish website. It'll be valid immediately. It lasts 45 days. You will have to print it out. Physical stamps are not available at North Dakota licensed vendors. The North Dakota State Board of Animal Health is once again putting a pause on poultry and bird events after a case of avian flu, bird flu, was detected in Cass County. State ag officials say birds from the flock will not enter the food system. They are working to prevent the spread of the disease. The state veterinarian said the department hoped there wouldn't be any additional cases this fall after a suspension last spring, when there were a number, put a hold on most events throughout the state through the summer. But there are no immediate public health concerns, according to officials.